Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, we will see what is ConfigMap, secrets and environments in Kubernetes, right? Because these are the main component or object I would say in Kubernetes to maintain your application lifecycle in the uh, Kubernetes. All right. So let's start with the environment. So environment is basically sometimes what we need to do is we need to pass some additional configuration in the Kubernetes. So to pass those additional configuration, we sometimes we need to set the environment to use that particular thing in the Kubernetes or maybe in your application, right? So in config map, we do have that capability, right? We can pass those as a config map or the secrets, right? But config map is generally used to pass some basic information like the application version or maybe some other particular environment which might you use in your application, right? Whereas secret is just to pass some more sensitive information like config map is something where we can maintain non-sensitive information, I would like, and secret is basically for the sensitive information because secret will store that particular in encoded format, right? Maybe base 64 will use for this. The information, whatever it is being stored, that is stored in an encoded format, right? So let's see in our Kubernetes cluster. So same way we have that Kubernetes cluster is ready with the two nodes. And what I have done is I have pushed some few more files to understand this, right? So first of all, let's try to run kubectl run mysql pod, okay? And I'm gonna use that mysql image for this, right? Let's see what will happen. It's done. Now let's see what will happen with our pods. I will put it with watch command. You can see it is running it, but due to some error, right? It is, let's see what will happen. That's a different pod is running, but I will want to check the what will happen to the MySQL. So here you can see that it is giving me some status of that particular pod, what is happening to that. So it is ended with some error, right? Let's see if I just run kubectl get pods. So here you can see my MySQL pod is status is crash loop back off, right? So let's see in the event section what is happening to our pod. So I would say kubectl describe pod and the pod name is MySQL. So here it is saying it was able to pull the image and successfully pulled, but it was when it is starting, right? It is ending with some error, right? So here it is not giving the full information. So what I will do is let me clear my screen. I will go kubectl. So we have another command called kubectl log, which generally shows the logs of that particular pod. If you have that multiple container, then you can specify that like this container name, right? So it will show that logs for a particular container from that pod. But in this case, we have already one container in this pod. So I would just simply mention the pod name. Okay. So when I'm running the logs, so here you can see what error it is saying. It is saying is database is uninitialized and password option is not specified. See, for this application, right, you need to pass some environment value so that the database will be initialized. So we do have a many more application which is maybe required to pass a particular environment and the value so that it will initialize its functionality, right? So I just took an example of MySQL. So here you can see it is saying you just need to specify one of the following argument as an environment variable, right? Otherwise, one of the following, right? So we will see that with the MySQL root password, right? So what I have done is I have created a file called this one, right? So here you can see how you can pass the environment. You can see that we tried this, but we ended with the error, right? So before we run it, what I will do is I will delete my pod again. And this time when I'm gonna run it, I will pass this environment value, right? So what it is asking me to pass, it is asking me to pass a one of the environment, my SQL root password, so that you can log into the database with the root credential and you can see your databases, right? So in this command, what the same thing I am doing, kubectl run mysql. I'm setting the image and I'm setting the mysql root password as a cloud at 123. Let's run this time. And if I see my pod now, it should be running, right? Because we have fulfilled the whatever that dependency for this pod, right? So it is C, you can run, right? How you can see, I would run kubectl exec and then you can run this particular pod to get inside. So let's see, uh, MySQL. Okay, I am trying to go to inside the MySQL pod, right? And to specify the command, whatever you want to run inside that, right? So you can just give these two uh, hyphens and then you can so here the meaning is this is the kubectl command which I am offering, and then after this whatever the additional field if you want to pass to the kubectl command, that should come before this. Whatever you are putting after this two hashes, that will be considered as a command which you want to run inside that particular container or pod, right? So it is a MySQL, and then I am just trying to say my root hyphen p. Okay, I forgot to put the because I am just wanted to attach this MySQL to a terminal, right? So that's what that is, interactive terminal. And now you can see it is asking me to pass the password. So let's try that password which we have set. And indeed, we are able to log into our database, right? If you want to see what all databases, then probably this is the command. So databases, there was a typo, BASES. So here you can see these are the database available, right? Then you can play around with your database and everything, right? But the main thing is like how you can pass this environment, right? Because this is the environment it is asking for. So to pass those environment, you can put a dash dash env flag and you can pass those environment in key value format. So that's what we did. Now, this was a kind of imperative approach, right? Like we are defining that everything via command, right? What if I need to define with as a something called declarative approach, right? So let's delete this pod first and then I will show you my definition file. Okay, what is happening? I forgot pods because we need to delete the pod and it is deleted, right? If you see this file, so here what I'm saying is nothing special, right? This is something that which we have already discussed. It is a kind of pod, so obviously it is a pod definition file, but you can introduce a new property called env, right? And it will come as an array, right? Where you can define a key value format and you can define multiple arrays, which is something you wanted to pass, like it is required all three or maybe one of that, right? But just to keep it simple, what I'm doing is I'm just passing this my root password key variable to this environment, right? So to apply this same kubectl create hyphen f and I'm just passing the file. Again, our pod is up and running. If you see, it is again running. Same thing if you want to do, again go and kubectl exec mysql dash dash mysql hyphen u. Yeah, it should run. Okay, maybe sometimes what happens is your database is still not initialized inside a particular pod, right? So that's what it is doing. So let's wait for time. So for to avoid this situation, right, we have some liveness probe already, readiness probe, liveness probe, which we will see later, right? But as of now, let's wait. It's still not initializing. To check this, what we can do, I would pass env and grep for MySQL. And okay, it is set now. Okay, let's run it now. Okay, we are not passing the password, right? Cloud at 123. Come on. Password is typo or what? Kubectl exec, yeah, same command. So it should be cloud at 123. Okay, it's capital S C. Okay, I was trying small c because I was referring to this password, right? But here you can see it was set as a capital C. Maybe in the file we have given like that. Yeah, you can see it is capital C, right? So let's pass capital C and we were able to enter. Same thing you can do similarly, same databases. So that was with the uh, definition file, right? But now you can raise a question here, like what we are doing is we are passing our this value in the clear text format, right? And which is not good, right? Because maybe if someone is having access to my this definition file, they will have access to my database password and they can easily go and manipulate the things, right? But I don't want that, right? So to avoid that situation, that is the reason we have something called config map and secret, right? But again, co- config map is used for non-sensitive information, right? But secret is for sensitive, which take your value as a encoded format. So now what we will do is this config map, right? So config map, because here I am taking an example of this MySQL, right? So first we will pass this password as a config map, but in actual it is not meant for to pass that keys or maybe some password value which is sensitive for your application, right? You can pass a different value here, right? Probably you can explore more on this config in the Kubernetes documentation, like what all non-sensitive information we can pass, right? But let's see how we can do it, right? So kubectl, let's delete this pod first. Pod mysql. It's deleted now. Let's explore what all files we have in this directory. I have this config map, right? So what you can do is you can create this config map manually as well, right? How you can create it? You can simply, right? That's again an imperative approach, right? Kubectl create and I would say config map, right? Now I want to pass that particular thing to this config map, right? So to pass, what I need to pass? I need to pass this value. So how you can pass if you want to create it with a imperative approach? Kubectl create, this is the utility we are using, right? And this is the operation I want to do against which object? Config map object, right? Now you need to pass your config map name, right? Let's say I'm saying mysql cm. This is the config map name. I'm just putting the same thing here, right? Now you want to pass these values, right? So how you can do it, right? Or let me show you the example. You can pass it from literal or you can pass it from the file. If you go there, so we do have some examples, right? Here you can see create a new config map named myconfig based on folder bar. If you have that folder and under that folder you have many files, you can pass like that. If you want to pass particular file, then you can say from file and you can pass that particular file name, right? Or if you want to pass it as a like a key value format, then you can use this literal from literal and you can pass that key and then value. If you have multiple, then you can pass this flag multiple times the number you have that variable need to pass, right? So we will follow this from literal in this video. So again, I would clear my screen and I will go here and I would say config map set. My config map name is my sql-cm, and from literal what I want to pass, I want to pass that particular thing, which is, if you see that, I think it was 21. Yes, you can pass this value as a this one. You can just copy. There is no space in between and equal to that value, whatever the value you have created. It is done. Now if you get it, you can see it is saying kubectl get cm. Right? Similarly, if you want to do it from the command line, right? So you can see that in command line also you can do the same thing. You can do it, explain, or you can write your YAML file here, and you can see it is a kind as a config map. This is the name of the config bag and what all data you need to pass, right? If you want to describe it, because we can describe that object which we created, right? So kubectl describe CM, which CM? MySQL CM. CM is nothing. CM is just a short form of your config map. Okay. If you describe it, so here it is saying it is name of the config map, in which namespace it is, if you have applied any label and annotation again under the metadata section, right? And it has the data. Data is what? It has this key and this key is having a this value. So again, you can see this is not meant for the sensitive information, right? It is for the non-sensitive information. Why? Because it is showing you that data in the clear text format, right? But we will see how it will be visible in the secret. But before that, if you see that another file called mysql pod environment config map.yml. So there is another way. If you see this file called 20, so here I was passing the environment directly, like I'm putting the name of the environment, value, and the value to that particular environment variable, right? But here you can see I am passing the name, but value I am passing from where? I am passing from the config map. So this is the syntax you need to follow. So here you can see what I'm saying is I'm saying get the value from where? Config map key reference, and you need to pass that key. You don't need to pass the value. Internally, it will get the value from that config map, whatever the value you have set. So here you can see config map, key reference, name of the config map, and what is the key inside that particular config map, right? Now you need to inject this value to that particular pod, right? So that is the way you can inject. I have defined my config map with the key name this, and while injecting I am saying get the value from config map. This is the name of the config map and this is the key. From this key you will need to get the value, right? So let's apply this 23 now and let's see what will happen. So again, I'm gonna create this 23, and indeed it is again created without any error because we are fulfilling the something called the dependency for that particular image. It's again running, right? And if I'll again say the exec and it is asking the password, let's supply the password, and again we are inside our database. So that is the way like you can define your uh, environment in config map, right? If you need to pass some, let's say there is a dependency for the environment set, if you need to set some path, if you need to set some alias, if you need to set some proxy or something, right? Which we generally set with the env command in our Linux based stuff, right? Like this, if you need to set the shell bin bash for that particular, or maybe some working directory, or maybe let's say some home directory for a particular user. So those kind of information we need to pass in the config map, so that if it is visible in the clear text also, that is fine, right? Because it is not a sensitive information like we do have that maybe keys or the password, right? So that's the way that you can create it. Now let's see the secret. What is secret is, right? So secret again, here you need to do what? You need to, let me do that 21 as well so that we can compare it. So in config map, we were putting the kind as a config map, right? But in secret, obviously it will be a secret only, right? This is a metadata, just the name of that particular secret, and the data is this one. This is the key, but here you can see this is the value in the encoded base 64 format. And how you can get it? You can get any value like this. Like here I am saying, okay, change this value to this one. So if you see, we are getting the same value. And if you need to decode it, what you can do is you can just simply pass that hashed value to base 64 and ask for the decode. Here you can see I am getting the cloud at 123, the same value which we need to pass to our particular key for our image, right? And like we do have the imperative approach for the creating the config. So we do have something called create secret. If you ask for the help, Okay, what is happening? Create secret. We have ran like that only, right? Kubectl create secret help. Yeah, that is the way only, but I'm not sure why it is crying. Just give me a sec. It is kubectl create command only, and it should be this one. Okay, there is one more thing, right? We need to say it as a like what we need to do, right? So it is something a generic. Yeah. Now if you see what is happening is you need to pass this keyword to the generic to the secret, right? Because we are creating a secret. And the same way that you can follow this imperative approach, like kubectl create secret generic, just put the name of your secret. If it is coming from folder, you have a different file, you just pass the path for that folder. If you have file, then just directly path that particular file. You can see here I'm just passing my public key, right? If you have that values, then you can pass it from literal and from file. If you need to pass it from variable, environment variable as well, then you can pass it like this, right? But we will keep it simple, so we will pass it from literal. But unlike we create for it for cube config, we will not follow the same. What we will do is we will directly create from the file, definition file. So I will say create -f and I will pass my secret.yml. And if you see kubectl get secret ret, so you have that secret, right? Now when we describe, right, our this one, so here it was giving the clear text, right? But here when passing it, I'm not sure whether it will accept your password or whatever the information in clear text. I don't think that it will accept, because that's what they meant for this secret, right? You are passing your value in this value uh, base encoded, right? But now if I describe it, let's quickly describe and see what will happen. I will pass my secret name and you can see it is again name, namespace, and type is this one, and data you can see, right? But there is no value. In fact, there is a no encoded value is given here, right? While defining in the file, we can see, right? But when we are describing that particular secret, it is not giving that encoded format as well, right? So that's what that it is. If I say, let's say, is there any way kubectl get secret? And if I am just putting it in YAML format, the output, so here you can see, here also it is, I don't, yeah, here you can see it is giving you a encoded format, right? But in describing, you cannot see, right? So that is the way that you can keep your thing in that particular encoded format, right? It is a more secure way rather than in putting in config map. So that is why that secret is used for the sensitive information, which will hold your value in the encoded base 64 format, right? So now let's quickly see if I need to pass this as a environment again, right? So earlier we were passing as a config map key reference to that particular environment, right? But here what I'm saying is get the value from the secret key reference. This is the secret name, and under this secret you will find a key called mysql underscore root underscore password. So this will fetch the information from this, right? So let's quickly create and let's see if it was able to do it. Kubectl create -f and you will pass that my okay, earlier it was running, right? Let me delete that previous pod. Delete pod mysql. Okay, it is deleted. Now let's create it, and it has created the same thing. We will just list the pod. It is running, and if we'll go to the inside and I will pass the password, I think it is not initialize. Come on. Let's quickly see if I just grep for MySQL. Then, okay, it is set now. So let's quickly try it again. Okay, because sometimes it takes time to initialize whatever that your particular application is doing, right? So that is also something that there is a way, right? I discussed that probs, we can check the liveness prob, readiness prob, which we will see, right? Because the use case scenario is, because let's say your web server is needs to connect to your database, right? And web server is, let's say your very lightweight web server, and you have the DB server, right? And you are running your kind of micro services architecture, right? So your web server is up, right? And your DB server is not up. Maybe internally it is required to connect to the DB server, and it will say you that okay, web server is ready. But when you are trying to access your web server, maybe you are ending with some error or something, right? Because it has a requirement to connect with the DB. So there we can put some kind of health check or maybe the prob check, where it will say the web server is ready when the DB server is ready and the connection is established. So that is the way that you can control it, right? But that is not in this topic today. We'll see that later. But as of now, you can see we were able to do it. Now, if you ask me, in the same file, like in 23 also, we are referring that key directly from the key map reference. And in the file called 24, in this also we are passing our value from the secret key. Earlier it was config map, and here it is secret key, right? What if we need to pass that particular, what if you have that multiple keys, right? Then it is very hard to maintain that particular thing here, right? Because you need to pass that particular key here, and then the name of the secret, and then you need to pass that particular value, sorry, key, right? So that it will get the value from that secret or config map, whatever you have put, right? So in order to do that, what we have is we can directly pass a something called config map. So here you can see earlier it was environment. With environment we have seen, then we have created a config map, then we have created a secret, then we will see that if we need to get the environment value from the config map, how you can map, you can just refer that config map. If the same thing you need to do from the secret, then you can refer the secret key reference. But if you need to do it with the config map directly, right? So how you can do, you can, because here what we are doing, we are passing the environment variable key also from the config map. Because if you see here, we need to pass the key and value it will get from that particular config map or secret. But in this case, we are not passing the key itself. Might be you have that multiple keys inside that particular config map or secrets, right? So you will directly pass that config map or secret to your application or a pod, and that will automatically consume whatever it is required. So in this case, we have only one key and value, but it might have multiple key. So in that case, it will automatically consume that thing from that config map or config secret, right? So how to pass it? Under that container, whatever that you are setting it, right? There is a new property called env from, which is nothing the environment from, and you are referring your config map. Here I'm not referring that key. Key is missing here, right? You can see, but here I'm saying config map reference, and you can pass that MySQL CM, which is nothing, which is your config map, right? So if you see, I think still we have the config map. I haven't deleted. Yeah, and we can see your secret as well, right? Similarly, if you want to pass it to that secret, so here config map reference for config map and secret reference for your secret, and you just need to pass your name of your secret, right? So let's quickly create from config map, and let's see if we will succeed or not. Okay, it is already existed because I'm using the same file, right? That is why it is complaining again. So I need to delete that pod so that we will create this MySQL once again, and this time we will do it from directly from the config map. Okay. Now if you see kubectl get ports, it is running, and similarly if you go inside, it is not in a slice, I believe. Yeah, now it is initialized, and you can see that we were able to connect because now we are not passing any key, right? Key also it is getting from the config map. Same way, if you do it from your secret, so similarly you need to create from the secret definition file, which is nothing the port definition file where we are passing our port. Again, it is running, and if you go to that particular inside, this time also you are able to get in, right? And same thing, right? So this is the way, guys, you can keep your information. Sometimes if it is non-sensitive or just one or key, then you can pass simply with the environment, right? And if it is something that, let's say, you have that config map, right, where you are running that some information which is non-sensitive, you can keep it under config sensitive, and you can pass the same value to your pod. Just reference your config map, right? Just put the name of that config. And if it is sensitive information, similarly, you can set it to the secret, and then you can just pass your secret information. All right. So I think that's it from the day, I believe. That was the config map and secret. And yeah, I think we are good. So again, if you like my content, then please like and subscribe and refer it to CKA, which is a very demanding technology today. And let's wind up for today. I will meet you in the next video with some new topic, maybe liveness probe or maybe some, because we have a lot of things, right? If I go to if you check our GitHub reference, right? So here I think it we have many things which is running inside our this one. So if you see, so we need to, okay, there is some issue with that file. I will check, but where is that roadmap? If you go to the notes, I believe here we have put architecture, core concept, yeah, roadmap, this one. So you can see we have started with the Kubernetes basic architecture, scheduling, service networking. Networking is still pending, but we have seen that our service type, right? Storage volume. Yeah, we will start the storage volume from the next video, right? We'll just discuss how you can, because as of now, what is happening to your cloud, right? That will go away once your port is down. There is nothing, right? Let's say now if I think it is saying kubectl get logs, it is giving me, right? Kubectl logs MySQL. You can see, right? Inside whatever is happening, your pod or database, it is giving you, right? But what if I delete it, right? Now that everything is gone, right? There is no way that you can check your pod or that what was happened, right? So to in order to persist that data, right, that logs and everything, we need a storage, right? And how you can mount those storage, how you can make it persistent, that thing we will start from the next video. Then we'll see that what is the security, and then probably we'll see the maintenance, how you can upgrade your cluster, and the logging and monitoring also we'll see, and then we'll start with the troubleshooting part, right? So these are the topics left for our this series, which we will gonna cover in this video. All right, then I think we are good for today. I'll take a leave from today. We just discussed, and these files are I think already pushed to our repository. You can, if you are already cloned, then you need to pull that particular so that you can get the latest update for all these files, right? I will add more file for our further topics, and then will be available for you. I think I have already added those, but I haven't pushed it, right? Because I want to push those once we have that particular topic covered. Okay, so I will wind up with these words and we'll meet you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.